So good afternoon to you all. I have never preached in such a venue where I have so many people behind my back. So I'm not sure whether I should turn around sometimes. About 13 years ago, I had the good fortune of being missioned to Myross Parish in Limerick. I was the parish priest there for about 6 years. And after that, and for almost the last 7 years, I have spent half the time in South Sudan and half the time in Syria. And often I celebrate the Mass in Arabic, where I can struggle through the prayers very well. But when it comes to preaching, I generally preach in English, and I will have the help of a translator. So I will preach for about 30 seconds, and then I'll stop, and somebody will translate from my English to Arabic, and then, as in South Sudan, it would go from Arabic into the 2 or 3 local languages. So I get a bit of a rest. The homily can go on for quite a while. So I'm used to long homilies. But when I came back from South Sudan and I was explaining to my parishioners in Myross that I have this system in South Sudan where I preach and I have a translator, some of the wise people of Myross said, "Father, you definitely needed that here too." But I hope you will follow as I try and explore with us this evening the theme that Father Richard mentioned at the beginning of Mass of finding God in the service of others. Just a note of kind of warning first about finding God in anything. It's a little bit, there's a danger that it's seen as an advertising slogan. I think a lot of you are old enough to remember before the translation that we use in the Mass, the English translation that we use now. You remember before we used to, when the priest would say, "The Lord be with you," what would you respond? "And also with you." So you know the story of the priest who came out to celebrate Mass, and he was about to start, and he said, "There's something wrong with the microphone," and the congregation went, "The Lord is with you." We say it several times during the Mass. The Lord is with you. It's a profound confession of our faith. The Lord is with us. The one they have crucified and is risen is with us. He doesn't hide. He doesn't make itself difficult. That's not his mission. His mission is to be present with us. So when we say we're finding the Lord, it's not like he's kind of not bothered about us and we need to go searching for him in that sense. The Lord is with us because he has come to us. The issue of finding the Lord is not that the Lord isn't interested in us. It's that we need to learn again and again and again how to notice the Lord present to us. The Lord is present. The Lord is with us. So when we're finding the Lord, it's about opening our eyes, opening our ears to notice how the Lord chooses to be present. God's ways are not our ways. So how God is present is something that takes wisdom, life experience, and faith and humility to see and to notice how God is present. So I think the theme of today is echoing a very long and old tradition of the Church of inviting us to see, to hear, to be present in the way that we will see and feel and notice the power of the risen Lord with us, and that we reflect that power in the world around us. Over the last 6 months since the earthquake in Syria, thanks to many people maybe here and other people around Ireland and across the world, I've been able to be part of an organization that has, amongst other things, fed so many hungry people. We have fed many times about 60,000 people in the last 6 months. We've also been able to give them medical care and some clothing and some products to keep them clean and disease-free. And for about 400, we have been able to provide life-saving surgery. But the biggest volume of activity has been feeding. Now, I haven't done much of the boxes. We've actually distributed about 60,000 food boxes. I did a little bit of lifting on the first day of boxes, but I didn't do too much lifting after that. But there were 12 men who did nearly lifting every box and lifting them several times. And this day last week, we finished our 6 months of intervention. And I wanted to sit with those 12 men because they were the men who lifted the boxes, and they are the men who had constant daily contact with the people who were deeply affected. These were the people who were serving others most closely. They were all daily laborers. In fact, 2 of them had lost their houses in the earthquake. They were carpenters, electricians, all unemployed. They were men who knew nothing apart from casual daily labor in their lives. There were 1 or 2 businessmen who were trying to make a living from the small business and took the casual labor that we offered as an extra income. So I sat with them and I listened to them. I wanted to hear what their experience was. And it was amazing. These were men, 10 were Christian, 2 were Muslim. As they spoke of their experience over the course of an hour, I felt something of God present. The first thing they spoke about in unison and in slightly different ways was their immense compassion for the people who came to receive the food that we were offering. Their immense gentleness and compassion for their situation. These were men who they had empathy and feeling for their fellow human beings, irrespective of their background, irrespective of their identity, whether Christian or Muslim, whether enemy, friend or foe. They felt a power or a gratefulness for being able to do something in the face of such a catastrophe as the earthquake was. So not only did they feel the compassion, but they felt grateful that they were able to be part of a response and to do something. They felt kind of alive in this sense of being part of response. They got great joy from being honest and doing the right thing. In a situation like that, there's often the temptation, as they say, to accept a bribe. In fact, some of them told the story of putting their hands in their own pocket to help maybe a vulnerable person who needed help to get the box of food back to their house by paying for the transport back. They had great joy in being honest. The 12, 2 of them knew each other before, but the rest didn't. They had, at the end of the 6 months, they had found a joy in being together. They had formed community and a bond. Such was it the bond that they would enjoy coming to work and they would find it almost difficult to leave. They had formed friendship and community. They had also developed new skills. We were using a computer sometimes to track what was being done. And they had grown in new skills, and they had helped and encouraged each other in these new skills. They were also being drawn out of their own troubles. All of them faced difficult situations. They were in a very similar situation to the people they were helping. But they found that in being part of the team and in the course of the day, there was just an immense break from their own troubles, and to be engaged in this gave them strength to actually deal with their own troubles. And I think this is something of the mystery of finding God present in the service of others that I saw last week. And these were all men who, after that meeting, I was not able, and the organization was not able to offer them any more work. They were all facing unemployment and a lack of certainty. And yet, they were not griping, they were not complaining. They were immensely grateful for the service that they had been able to offer their fellow man and woman in Aleppo. And I think this is something that you probably find yourself in the many acts and service of others, that you receive in the giving. You receive the presence of the Lord and the company of the Lord that frees and calls forward greater giving. So we will continue over the next 9 months with this effort to support a smaller number of people who are still in great need. If you can help us, this will be wonderful. The situation in Syria, as we have been helping people, has actually got so much worse. I've described it as a treadmill of a worsening situation, where the value of the money at the time of the earthquake is now worth 100% less. The $25 one was earning in February is now worth about 10, while the price of the food and medicine and all the basics that you need for life continues to rise. And I think Syria is just one of the situations in our world today where the world system is so broken. And where is God calling us? Where is God calling us? And to find God, to find the Lord, is to find solidarity as his disciples in working to ease the pain of those who are suffering and to build a fairer and just system so that these situations arise far less. So the call is to work for fairness, the call is to work for justice. Just as our gospel says, when you did it to one of these, the least, you did it to me.